Hello, welcome. It's Ira and I'm here today to show two more journals that I made in a very close, similar style with handmade paper, homemade paper that I keep making from time to time, and with natural pressed plants that I fix and seal on the top. So let's get started. I'm gonna be very short. So the first one is general style with a hardcover made of one layer of cardstock. It's quite heavyweight but still flexible, and the spine is strengthened and hardened with two layers of cotton, outside and inside, and with random stitching, machine stitching. And as you can see, 4 signatures here. This is the back side with 2 different types of handmade paper, one with a lot of petals of different sorts of medicinal plants, and this one is with the texture of waffle blanket, in fact, napkin. So this is the front cover, and this is also the same paper, and as I can see, there are even some lavender flowers here. Yes, probably. Then you can see the tiny flower with some. You can see the stems and the flowers themselves. This journal is called Winter Sun. This is a little description saying the date, the place, and my signature. And this is a piece of the picture from a old Russian botanical medicinal plants book. In these 2 journals, I did a lot of stenciling, and you can see that. All the stenciling is done with distress inks, as well as all the stamping is done with distress inks. So it will flow if you add any liquid, but this flowing effect can also add to the vintagey look. And I did a lot of stamping here, and as you can see, the edges here, majority of edges on many pages, imitate the leaky effect of an old book. There are some pages from old Soviet Russian magazines, which are called, as you remember probably, I keep using them all the time. These are Young Nature Lover or Young Naturalist, and this one is the page from a magazine on planting, on gardening, and on things like that. I used as well office colored paper. This one is used to be clean yellow now, and then I distressed it with coffee. So again, some stenciling together with a lot of stamping. 4 signatures are sewn in by hand. Okay, let me run through that quickly. And I guess there is a lot of space to write, and there is a lot of space to do your own sketches. If you like sketching, botanical sketching, I think it will hold gel pens quite well. I'm not sure about different types of markers. And this is, by the way, an envelope, glassine envelope with some stamping on top. And I did the stamping with Stazon ink, which is supposed to keep strong on non-porous surfaces, and it is like kind of vague because I wanted to give it the illusion of something fading and shading, so probably it makes sense. This is a page from an old Russian English dictionary. Some more stamping. So back to how this journal can be used. In many ways. First of all, you can writing part, and you can take notes. You can use it as a diary, as I, for example, and I used mine as one of mine. I would probably show it again sooner or later, or even I have a video on one of my journals, botanical journals. I use that as a botanical travel journal, and I would start a project, an online project, like a long tutorial or a long process video that I would divide into parts in order to show one quite convenient, like I would say it's really handy journal. Let's call it journal now. I wouldn't tell you all the detail, but I would like to show all the process from the very beginning, and it's for those who like collecting plants, pressing the plants, and traveling, and making journals, making botanical journals, keeping herbariums or herbs. It's going to be like a combination where I will show how I do that, and it's supposed to be really easy. And I will definitely show some tricks that and some of my mistakes that I have made, and so that's going to be the project of making a journal, but a very specific type of journal, very, I would say, functional, having a lot of practical use, not just writing, but okay. Again, stenciling, so you see the principle is quite the same, but as long as there is quite a big sum, or quite a lot of stenciling here, it has taken even more time. You know, it's like all the time, one more picture from the old magazine. All the time I make an idea or a concept of a new line or a new collection of journals. I start with one idea, and then I but get into different directions, because in fact I sometimes feel that it's not enough, and I need to do something else more interesting, probably, or just different. So this is the second one. This one is also decorated with different brads imitating the nails. The pattern of the paper, or the texture of the paper, is waffle towel or waffle napkin. Then on the top you can see, let me see the title. This is wormwood. In fact, this is one name of the plant that I have found, and there are a lot of names for this plant, and there are a lot of species. I grow it in my garden as a decorative piece. It usually looks absolutely different, but this one probably is just a very specific species. That's why you can hardly recognize it. Maybe just from the color, which is grayish, like green, something like that. So the paper is really interesting, because like the color, I didn't add anything, even the tea or coffee, to this paper. This is the paper made with petals of hydrangea, this one, and it turns out that these petals create this interesting effect. They give this shade of yellow and brown and something like as if it was created with distress inks. 4 signatures, and the back side is exactly the same paper, and you can see the petals and the flowers, and you can touch them as well. Let's run inside, and inside you can find the same principle but different designs. Dictionary page, then a piece from an old botanical medicinal plant book, and a signature, and my signature, and kind of a label, and an assortment, an array of different pages with different patterns, different, I would say, absolutely various designs that they are taken from different forms. This one, again, I have forgotten to mention that about the previous one, and this one also, it's in the countryside, in the garden, and then it's about using it as kind of a quiz. just a word puzzle, or you can even like you can use this one for like as fortune telling, because you can actually pick the letters that you would like that pop up, or that you can easily see, and like arrange them in a set of letters, which can also be the key to your day, or word of the day, just whatever. And so some stenciling, botanical stenciling, and plants and stamps, and different types of paper. And as well, you can hear and feel and touch, almost smell many of the pages, and you will get different effects. Once again, this is a page of from a quiz book, IQ quiz book. So if you take it on a journey, you can also try to guess, to solve some puzzles. Just kind of entertaining stuff. And some pages, as some of you probably know, are taken from the old books and from old reference books, and just bookkeeping assortment that I used to have when I was at university. And these are them, like record books, and just where I was supposed to take notes. And here is a page from a student's diary that our students have at school. And again, the bookmark with wooden beads. And as you can see, the spine is also strengthened from both sides, but this time it's hardened, maybe with specific waffle cotton as well. One more thing that I did mention with the previous, it's about, this is a page from a Belarusian poem book, a Belarusian folk songs book. So that one also is about some nature and trees and plants, quite nice poems and songs. And this is the page from a Botanical Lover, a Russian magazine. This pattern is turned out really nice. It's poppy, and this is a stencil with distress inks again. Even if you use the same tools and the same tricks and techniques, every time you use them on different paper with different effects, like shading effects or leaking effects, they all are different. And one of the pages is particularly like funny. Yeah, I would say sometimes you cannot get these effects if you try hard, but sometimes you get them like unintentionally, and the effects turn out to be even more beautiful. Now this is one more page from an exam book, like exam notebook or form that students are supposed to fill. They are supposed to write their answers here, and we simply printed them out, and we had an editorial house or something like that responsible for that function. So these pages or paper, this paper is quite stable and safe, and the ink is very good. It's a professional editorial ink, a printing house ink, so it's not from the printer, but I'm not sure, maybe modern printers are very good with that, because I don't use printer almost never in my works, because I have a very old printer. Although it's laser, but still the ink can sometimes peel. Just I don't like the effect. I prefer using inks and stamping, and definitely I would probably use printouts, digital kits, because the designs are really great. But the problem is that here in Belarus we are facing a lot of issues with getting a good quality printout. More than that, it will cost, even if we do, it will cost, taking into account that the paper is still not of a very good quality, and it's still just office paper, that is not very good in terms of keeping old stories, just having archival quality, and at the same time they will cost a fortune, much more than a professional scrapbooking paper kit. That's why I tend to use patterned paper.